We have 48 listeners.
And
That's
we
not
have
how
48 cameras.
We got a camera for every listener.
You get a camera. You get a camera. You get a camera. You get a camera.
This one is called Dernick.
Yeah.
This one's Mike.
Yes, that one's Argonaut. And that one's me, because...
Oh, sadness.
sad.
Actually, we've got cameras we're not even using right now, so that's pretty hairy.
Yeah. I keep looking at the one that's right over your shoulder, like, is it on?
This one?
Is it watching me?
Behind you.
There's one over your shoulder.
Oh, shit.
I didn't know we had a bad cable. I was going to plug that one in and do a time lapse.
And it's totally got the Dave, like, hello.
Hello, Foo.
Do you see me filming you? Did you see me filming you earlier? What?
I came out of your sock drawers,
Also,
Foo.
last night I was hanging out.
Yeah. I was right next to that ring camera.
How's Venus doing, Foo?
I can tell you if you want to know.
I can
What?
satisfy her if you can't.
I have photos.
What?
That thing has Thunderbolt 3 on it.
Which one?
The new ones?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Anyway.
We need to do some testing.
You know what else has a 3 in it? Episode 33.
We're double
Two threes,
threes. Double tray.
Double tray.
Is that a real thing? How do you say double in Spanish? Double?
Double
Double tray?
Well, W is double, so probably.
Double.
How do you say it in Spanish?
Yeah.
W.
I find it hard to believe that we can get this many cameras running,
Yeah.
but we can't figure out how to jack any fucking audio into the mixer that's not our mics.
Oh.
That just slays me. Audio, we're out.
I got nothing.
And also,
But we can add another video channel.
we can't figure out how to fucking edit video and get it up on YouTube. But
I was going to say.
33.
wait, what? Say it again.
33.
Oh, 33. Oh, yeah. Well, you said double 3.
Yeah,
But
double
33.
Double 3, like 33.
Doble 3.
Double.
Double tres.
Double tres.
Ah,
Hey, last week, that shit was up quick, though.
I know.
It was.
Welcome to Sad Dad's Club
Podcast.
Double Tres.
I'm Foo.
I'm Jim.
Oh, he didn't have it. He walked away from it.
Oh.
I thought he was going to double that one up. Anyway.
Anyway, yep, Jim and Foo over there, and we are starting a new
Enlatadas.
a new show.
Did you say
That
eat?
says I'm Data's.
Oh,
And then that does.
I thought it said eat my ass. Like, wow, you got it to say that in Spanish?
We are off the rails right out of the gate.
Come mi culo.
There you go.
It's like we have another person here.
Yeah.
A whole nother person. Actually, you should do an entire show where that is your voice. Everything you say must be typed and said.
Fuck you, Shayna.
Wow.
Wow. That's you kiss your mom with that mouth?
Wow. It's the same lips he skidded on the way out. So he figures he owes it to her.
Yeah. I've made mistakes this day.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the show, everyone. And I don't know, what do we have going on tonight in our show?
I was going to talk about, because last couple episodes, when we circled back, we were talking about like teaching the kids the curiosity thing, right? Mm-hmm. Intrinsic. So
Yeah.
if you're a follower of our YouTube uploads, you know that we have had some hiccups.
Yes.
Right? And so you and I have talked about, you just kind of pick apart things. So between the two of us,
Yeah.
we reverse engineered
Yep. The entire show that Data's edits.
Data's edits.
Yep.
But a lot of it was so not only to have redundancy, should Data have a high course load when he gets to the sack state, or he has problems.
He can't get it up.
And he can't.
Whatever.
He can't get it uploaded.
Thanks, Tim Cook, for selling me some bullshit that doesn't work.
Yeah.
Also known as the Data.
And a lot of it too was like the curiosity between whether or not only could we do it?
Yeah.
But it was in a pinch. Can our machines
Yeah.
crunch it?
I mean, I have no doubt in myself. I mean, I've been around video for a long time.
How long did it take you guys to do it on your
It
web machines? Your
Well,
internet?
I'll tell you what. My Mac Pro at work is quite a bit faster.
Then
It was about 20 minutes faster than mine. It took me about an hour.
Well,
and 20.
I'm not saying faster than yours, but I'm saying faster than my Mac Mini at home.
yeah, that's a ding ding.
Yeah, well, it took mine an hour and 40
Yeah.
to crank through an entire episode,
yeah.
and yours was done. You had started like 15 to 20 minutes after mine.
And finished before.
And it finished before mine,
Yeah.
and I had thought you had taken that rig up there.
Oh,
I didn't
no.
know you were on
I
the
didn't
Mac
even
Pro,
try
and I'm
this.
like, no way.
That thing
Did I
would've-
get shamed again?
That thing would have fucking never done it.
And, you know, you have this thing that the computer will or will not do it based on its performance specs.
That
but
thing
the bottom
was barely
line
even doing it.
the
I had to
bottom
get a new
line
computer
is
'cause of that
it's
thing.
just a matter of how much time it takes for it to process things.
Yeah.
I can't sit there
The Mac
and watch
Mini
it, dude. Oh, my.
has done it. It had transcoded all the files. It just is. It just.
Yeah.
It's however long it takes.
Right.
So
Now, I
you
can-
start the transcode, and it's like, well, it's going to be a while because
there
that
is
crowbar
a-
is not moving, and I'm
there's
going to
a-
go to bed.
There's a difference between, right, so young multitasking me would have been probably complacent with what I ran into on mine, and that was the transcoding process for my stuff took way too long relative to my attention span and the time I had
Yeah.
allotted to be able to tinker with it.
Oh, right.
So I would have to, if I didn't kick
Start
it
it off
yeah,
and
and
leave.
then go find something else to do.
Yeah.
And that was problematic as a dad, as someone as having a job. It was, I've got a finite amount of time to dedicate the project to, like, where you and I were collaborating and like trying stuff. And then when I needed to start back over from scratch, it was like my lunch break is over.
Right.
I have to walk. And that was
Frustrating.
frustrating from a resource standpoint. Now, at no point, at least on mine, did I run into a problem where he's like definitive, like it's done, it won't do it, it won't crunch it.
I have a possible reason for maybe why he had issues.
Okay.
Well, prior we weren't transcoding this, so you record all the files for the people at home. You record all the files, and they are in a H.264 file format. We're using Final Cut Pro to edit that, and Final Cut Pro's native workflow is to work in a ProRes file. So it doesn't, not that it doesn't support H.264 files, but it's happier
Right.
using ProRes.
It enjoys it
We
much more.
we weren't transcoding our H.264 files into ProRes initially, and that takes a bunch of extra work for Final Cut to deal with it because of the way the
Program
files are
work.
made.
Yeah.
So now, the guy who I got the case from at work was saying that it's very possible that maybe it was doing some transcoding in the background, and
Right. Okay.
it wasn't finished. So because your edit is so much quicker than the transcode, now you're trying to export a file that's half transcoded, and you're going to run into a situation where now you're either missing audio or you're missing video or some other thing.
Now, I can tell you, I ran into that.
Okay.
So when I restarted one of my projects before we started our real good like collab stuff, I had noticed the progress wheel was like slowly working its way across, but
You'll run out of audio.
But I had a thing like, okay, I know what I'm doing here. I'm this, sync this, click this. These are going together, and so I was off and running. But noticing that what I thought was it was completed and it was maybe working on the waveforms and the thumbnails, it wasn't. It was retranscoding the stuff that I had taken out of the projects and put back in, and I went, okay, so
Yeah.
right there, I'm shooting
yourself
foot
in the foot.
because it wasn't ready. So
Right.
between not quite the horsepower, between being impatient and overthinking what the rig was outputting.
Right.
I was essentially corrupting my own work as a result of the hardware I was on.
Right.
I was thinking faster than the machine at the time.
Sure.
Relative to what I was doing.
So I think that's part of the reason why we were having problems.
Yeah.
Because once we started transcoding, what we were doing was waiting for the at least I was waiting for the transcodes to finish.
Yes.
So you knew when you started, you were starting with
I had everything I needed.
everything's done.
Right. Yeah.
And then once you're working with the transcoded files, it's much smoother because now they're ProRes, and Final Cut Pro is much happier with it.
I would love it if there was an option where it'd say after transcode export, so that it knew, like, as soon as this is done, just put a copy out.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean your edit's done at that point.
Right.
Yeah, but if it is, that's great.
Yeah, but how does it know?
I would tell it as soon as it's done transcoding.
You wouldn't be done doing you can't edit a show that fast.
What we're saying is transcode, wait for that to finish, then do your
On your
edit.
machine, it's like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can do it all and then wait for it.
Right.
But how do we know that's not part of the issue?
Right. You need to
'Cause
let it transcode and go get a glass of water, and then your MacBook Pro is going to be done. The rest of us will go make a 7-course meal.
Take a frothy pee.
Yeah.
Well, it was fine last week.
All right. I mean,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
You got a good coin flip.
Now, I enjoyed that process because I learned
Yes.
a lot. I mean,
And that
I
goes to-
work in the
right.
video
So-
world, but
To circle back, that was
I
like part
really-
of the curiosity and the tinkering
Yeah.
that we were talking about.
I was
It's
like,
God, that was-
oh, I didn't know I could do that. I
Yeah.
didn't know I could do that. That's so cool.
And as someone that enjoys
tinkering.
that,
Yeah.
especially getting involved in more video stuff.
Sure.
Everything about that last week was a new learning page being turned. Like, well, how are we doing this? How are we doing this? It was fun. It was fucking awesome.
How how long did it take your guys' machines to export the GarageBand file? 2 minutes or something?
Oh, mine seemed to take longer than everybody's.
Yeah, well, even my Mini was quicker.
Yeah.
I don't know, just marginally though.
Yeah.
I mean, it was within 10%.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like 2 minutes or something.
Okay.
I forget exactly, but it's not that big of a deal. Not enough to make me upset.
I can wait 2 minutes.
Video files are a whole nother thing. I mean,
Right.
like I said, my Mac Mini, I started the transcode. I saw how quick it went from 0 to 1% and went, all right, well, I'm going to bed. And then in the morning, I looked, and it was done at 5:30 in the morning.
What time did you start it? Like
took
9, 10?
Probably 6.5 hours to transcode all the files.
He kicked it off somewhere about 11
Yeah.
midnight.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So
But it did it.
It did.
Right?
It's not like it's a problem. And then it was the timeline was happy. It was fairly snappy in Final Cut Pro.
Oh my god.
Now the Mac Pro I have at work is a 2010. So I mean we're talking about an 8-year-old machine.
Yeah.
And that thing cranks still.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah. I mean pretty impressive for an 8-year-old machine to be on par with some of the newer systems that are still around.
How long did it take to transcode?
Oh, I don't even remember. It was maybe 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's pretty good.
Yeah. 45 minutes, somewhere right in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I ran into a problem there because of the RAID. I ran out of space on the RAID, and that screwed me.
Yeah.
And I lost all my transcode files, so I had to like dump a bunch of crap off the RAID and then start over. So, learning curves. But luckily I have enough storage at work. It's not a problem.
What else did we talk about last week? It was
Now, we talked a little bit about the podcast thing, and I noticed that Patrick Dernick got a little upset. Hashtag hey Dernick. About he said something in the comment in the YouTube video about where podcasts came from, and I looked up the history. I looked up the history of podcasts, and it wasn't an Apple invented thing, but the inclusion of podcasting in Apple's iTunes software is really what kicked off podcasting in general.
So okay.
It had a small following. It started out, and it, eventually someone called it a podcast, and then eventually someone called it a I don't know. There was like a bunch of naming stuff in there. They talked about, and over time and it started, I want to say, in the mid 2000s, and then someone wrote a script to make a podcast, make it go and look at the RSS feed, and then download the file, and then have iTunes included into your file, so that it would then connect to your iPod. When you connect your iPod, it would automatically load it on your iPod. So someone wrote a script that did that, and then Apple eventually included it into the iTunes software, and that really is where it took off. Now, it was a podcast before Apple got into it, but partly because I forget exactly what the naming convention was. They kind of went through a couple different naming conventions before it became a podcast.
So where did pod in podcast come from? Did that?
You're going to make me look it up.
Yeah. Because I am struggling to see where they get pod out of like a radio show or a radio talk show or like an Audible thing.
Yeah, I have to find it.
Is it not as simple as
I didn't find the right page.
Wiki Biznals?
It is, but I didn't.
Oh.
It didn't come up in the search.
Hey. Yes?
I was watching something. I don't know what's going on.
Oh. We're looking up the
Here we go.
etymology of podcast.
So the big thing about podcasting was the invention of the RSS feed.
Okay.
So that sort of got invented and then sort of languished. It didn't really go anywhere from what I was reading. Okay. And it took a while for the RSS feed to really catch on and make sense for how it was going to eventually be used.
So was that around like the era, the heyday of like the Real Player and Winamp?
It says in around 2000 October, this good dude named Weiner had received customer requests for audio blogging. So
okay, so it was blogging at the time.
Yeah, and he included that functionality in the RSS thing, and so they weren't really using the term podcasting there yet. Let's see. In October 2003, they organized the first BloggerCon web blogger conference.
I could see a blogcast.
Right. And they, at that point, presented a history of the audio blogging.
Okay.
Which is interesting because it really didn't have much of a history. And they demonstrated a script to download RSS enclosures and pass them to iTunes for later transfer to an iPod.
Okay.
Because at the time, there wasn't any software that would do that automatically. So then they changed it to, after the conference, Curry offered his blog readers an RSS to iPod script called iPodder.
Okay.
So that's where the first name of pod...
Of the word pod being injected into...
Right, because he was transferring it to an iPod.
To an iPod. So I feel like we kind of said that.
I mean, we kind of did say that.
It had its own format, and it was out there, but the ubiquitousness of everyone having iPods as an MP3 or an audio portable device is what it kind of latched onto.
Yeah. Let's see. And then there was...
that makes sense.
Okay, and then September 2004... media and newsfeed idea was picked up by multiple developer groups, while many of the early efforts remain command line based. The very first podcasting client with a graphic user interface was called iPodder X and later called Transistor after a trademark dispute with Apple. So this is Apple's now starting to jump in and say, hey, man, you can't use iPod in there. And then...
so then Apple just started shitting on everybody because they knew that the pod in podcasting or their pod software was a reference to their device.
Yeah, exactly.
So they were hoarding on it.
So then,
that's funny.
Writing for The Guardian in February 2004, a journalist named Ben Hammersley suggested the term podcasting as a name for the Nansat technology. 7 months later, Danny Gregory used the term podcasting to describe the automatic download and synchronization of audio content. He registered several podcast-related domains like podcast.net.
Oh, there you go.
And the use of podcast by him was picked up by podcasting evangelists such as Dave Slusher, Weiner, and Curry, and entered common usage.
There you go. So then they they essentially re-grasped it from Apple's claws.
Yeah, exactly. And then it says in June 2005, Apple added podcasting to its iTunes 4.9 music software.
There you go.
And so it wasn't Apple. I mean, they played a role.
They didn't coin the name.
They didn't coin the name, but it was coined based off the
based
iPod.
off the devices that were so prevalent.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
So there you go.
There you go.
Feel better about that, Dernick? I do. I feel better that we cleared the air a little bit because it was always my understanding that it had something to do with the podcast or the iPod,
but not necessarily a genesis of Apple.
Right.
Well,
yeah.
Audio blogging.
Yeah,
that's funny. See, I wouldn't have thought that blogging. I didn't think that was a thing that early in the 2000s.
Well, blogging from a web page standpoint was. I mean, I remember back in the late 90s, people doing blogs, and like, oh, hey, did you read that dude's blog? You know, I remember talking about that with people at work.
God, that's crazy.
Yeah. So we've seen it's weird to think that it really hasn't been that long. Really?
I was like, hey, can we go buy some vodka and get hammered tonight and go down to Clementine? And people are worried about blogging way back then.
Yeah. I remember there was a guy that blogged, I want to say it was in the early 2000s.
Ruby Red Squirt and Vodka.
And he did a blog. He was a tech guy from the Bay Area.
Yeah.
Quit his job and rode a road bike all the way from like Portland, Oregon, all the way to Boston or New York City.
Yeah, Forrest Gump shit.
And he blogged the entire thing. He would stop and figure out how to connect to the internet somewhere and put it on his blog.
Well, that's funny. 2000, that was...
Yeah, that's what I mean. That was a long time ago.
Shit, not even McDonald's probably had Wi-Fis.
Yeah, where do you find the
Google Starbucks?
You were probably asking people, "Hey, can I borrow your internet
Hey, does
connection?
your Motel 6 have Wi-Fi?"
What?
I'm sorry, who?
Yeah. Well, I know for me personally, my first Wi-Fi I had was in 2000. I had to because the place where the computer was going to be moved to in our house, there wasn't a cable or a phone cable there. And so we bought the very first airport base station, the graphite one, and plugged it into the phone line. And when you wanted to connect to the internet and you were connected to the airport through wireless, it would hit the airport and the airport go up and it would fire off a call to whatever I forget who we used back then. But it would literally, and it would take it, you would be waiting for it. Yeah. That's exactly what it was doing. So the airport base station back then had a modem built into it, and it would go and connect, and then that's all your wireless traffic would go then to the. Yeah, interesting stuff. So that was the first way we had wireless at our house because we had to go to something wireless.
God, I think I just ran at that point. I was still so young. I would just run a giant Cat5 cable and like tuck it underneath the baseboards all the way to like an Xbox.
Well, I have done that with phone cables, like in our bedroom, because we had a TiVo in there.
In fact,
that had to call out, right?
Yeah.
And so I ran a phone wire because the phone's behind the bed, the phone jack, and the TV is at the other end of the room. So I ran a cable and tucked it under.
In our first set of apartments that were the apartments that were behind, that are now behind the Galleria. We we had a rabbit named Beavis, and it would chew the fucking network cables.
Oh,
and then when we went to Charlotte, Venus brought Beavis back, and so I would have phone cables and Cat 5 cables in the apartment in Charlotte, like running across a thing, and he would fucking chew. He would find.
Dude.
Oh man.
You want to kill the animal.
Oh, dude.
Absolutely.
Anyway, so yes. Wireless probably would have been a great idea, but I was too dumb. And my rabbit was too hungry.
We were using dial-up, so it's not like the wireless performance was a problem, right?
Right.
It was still dial-up back then.
Yeah.
And now you know like why it was so hot to get
Fiber.
fiber or
Copper,
or
DSL.
DSL at the house. Yeah. I mean, I'm using dial-up and it sucks. So
What was the fastest they got? 128K?
I want to say there was a 256.
Was there?
256.
That was so funny to be building PCs and to see it go from... Really, when I came in and I was building PCs, they had started at 14.4.
Yeah.
So, in like
28.8,
the span of like
33.6.
a season or two, it was like the 14.4s were gone and out, and now you're at 28.8s. It's like
there's a 33.6 in there.
yeah, and then
wasn't there
the
a
56.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember the
56K.
Mac that I had a Global Village modem that came part of it. And for one day, that modem just went tits up. It wouldn't connect. It wouldn't do anything. And I went to Macworld because we went to the Macworld every year for the show. We had a booth there. And I remember, hey, I'll be back. I'm going to go talk to the Global Village guys about this modem that went tits up on me. So I go over there and I'm talking to him like, I got this modem. It came with my PowerMac 6100 and it just doesn't do anything anymore. And it was almost like they knew something was wrong with those modems.
Oh.
And they were giving away a speakerphone modem that was the fastest. It was brand new, fastest. It was a 56.6 or whatever the newest one was. And they were giving away one at the booth. And they entered me into the contest and said, well, maybe you'll win one. And then out of nowhere, towards the end of the show, a group of them walk up to the booth, our booth. They're all, hey, Jim, come over here. And they gave me one of the brand new Global Village modems with the speakerphone and all that shit. Yeah. Oh, hey. And I was like, yeah, that was the best. So that was pretty cool.
There's PR guys like, and we have silenced this one.
Yeah, exactly. He'll no longer be on any forums.
We have given him the good one. He will be the shut.
That was a cool modem because it had speakerphone on it.
What's your problem?
Did you hear the fans?
Yeah.
Loud.
Whose fan?
That's my computer.
I thought it was a jet.
Fucking Tim Apple.
I'm getting throttled right now and it's not even doing much.
That's going to be the name of the show. Fucking Tim Apple.
I was throttled and I wasn't even doing much.
It's only, because Google Chrome's using 9.5 gigs of RAM.
So, there is apparently, what's the new Microsoft?
Edge.
There is an Edge beta floating around out there somewhere for the Mac.
Oh, is there?
Why would I want that?
Maybe Google Chrome sucks because see how many resources it uses?
Yeah, but it has all the plugins that I need.
Maybe.
Google Chrome has so many like people
Did
develop
you hear about
apps
the Firefox one? Something about a certificate not being renewed.
Oh.
And so when that expired, when you would launch Firefox, it would not launch any of your plugins. So people who had like ad blockers and spam
Nothing would
Fisher, well, it was all disabled. So then people were going to websites and getting like bing, 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 and they're like, what the fuck is going on?
I have all
Oh, my
this
plugins
stuff.
are gone. What is this browsing experience?
How fucked up is it when you go to a website and they're like, please put us on whitelist or you can't see anything on here?
Oh, I hate that.
I leave it.
You sons of fucking
Yeah,
bitches.
normally I do.
I'll
Yeah,
leave it.
I
It's
do.
usually for me something that I need for school, so I can't, you know? So I'll be like, okay, god fucking damn it, fine.
Yeah.
But if it's something else like what's the New York City or what's the New York Times?
New York Times.
Fuck you
Washington
guys,
Post.
I'm out, dude. I don't care enough.
Yeah.
No
You're not
fucks.
going to get my business
There-
either way.
there are a
I'm
number
either
of
going to
things-
leave or you're not going to get my ad revenue. So
Where I'll be
you're going to lose both ways.
looking for video game stuff or something to like Destiny related, and it'll put me on like a video game site, and it'll be like, you have an ad blocker on, disable, and like the whole screen goes white or blocks it,
You
obfuscates
can't do anything else.
the stuff behind the thing. I'm like, I'll find another site. Sorry.
Now, this is interesting. My father-in-law was telling me that he recently gave up our local paper, the Sacramento Bee.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember paying for the Bee, and it was like $12 a month or some shit like
It's
that.
way too much.
You know how much he was paying? $1,100 a year to get the newspaper delivered to his house.
What?
I would have quit a long fucking time ago.
Wow.
$1,100 a year? So what, $95 a month?
Wow.
Or $85 a month?
You know, and that's
That's crazy.
There's a double-edged sword there
91.65.
because I think local reporting is important.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
I just saw a thing about some long-standing newspaper, the Times-Picayune in New Orleans, like shuttered, everyone gone. But you know, you're in this age where if you don't have a digital platform and presence, you know, paper. I don't know. I mean, it's rough.
Well, paywalls are annoying enough, but I can't imagine spending that much money for a newspaper.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
especially one that's not local. It's like if I'm
Well,
gonna
this
pay,
is a local paper, but
well,
I mean,
yeah. It's
would you pay $90 a month for a local paper?
no.
No, it's way too much.
No.
You wouldn't pay that for New York Times online or whatever.
Well, I do. I actually pay for a Washington Post subscription.
How much is that? How much is that though? $12 a month.
I don't know off the top of my head.
It's probably not more than $15 a month.
But it was enough. And there's probably the give and take. It's if the Sacramento Bee was cranking out enough significant domestic like localized articles, or even national articles that was drawing my attention, I would probably find a way to justify paying for it because they're getting my business. I need to know what they're talking about, or I would probably just go buy one. Right? I would go to Rayleigh's and I would buy them a hard copy.
Yeah.
But I don't see that, and so yeah, that price point for a newspaper service that I wasn't, you know.
Is that elderly abuse? I'm dead serious. Like, there's no fucking way that they could justify.
Maybe it is.
It's right here, 7-day delivery as low as $8.68 a week,
7 days.
and that's for this.
I don't know. You'll have to tell
I don't
them.
know. See, I mean, you get into a weird context thing for me, and that is like the amount of time it would take me to read an entire newspaper of stuff. I don't have that kind of time. So that needing a whole newspaper worth of news every single day, I don't have that kind of time to dedicate to read and get my money's worth out of that. Now,
Okay, so then would Apple News Plus be something?
no.
No?
I get enough of my news with this running just the normal news that I don't see a need to pay for the premium of like the magazines.
If you're paying for the Washington Post,
Yes.
I don't know if the Apple subscription includes the
didn't.
Post. But
I think it was
how
Wall
many
Street Journal.
how many papers do you get? I mean, it might be worth it from.
It's
from
like
the-
unlocked. Well, I don't get a paper. I know.
I know.
It's the digital.
It's the online.
So I can. read until my heart's content.
No. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, for whatever the subscription of an Apple News Plus thing is, how many publications do you get with that subscrition?
See,
for
well, that was
whatever
it.
the cost is.
I didn't see anything in the Apple News subscription
That you were like, oh, I want that.
That it was aggregating something where I could calf off, or I wasn't going to get it for free from some other cable unplugged news organization.
I feel like they would have to. There's stuff in there that they were missing as far as.
I thought so. If they were,
it was a little light.
If they were going to aggregate all of the national newspapers or something like that, like your
I'm sure
your
it's
Times,
whoever they could get,
right,
to sign up,
right,
or whatever.
And I didn't see that, and I don't read enough magazine publications to what seemed like their News Plus service really was grabbing like photojournalism from magazines. So like your Vogues and your whatever Vanity Fair, Time. I don't read enough of those.
I never learned how to read.
Yeah,
What the hell is reading?
Yeah, what the hell? Make
Reading?
the diaper. But I didn't see enough yet. Now, if it had, I would have seriously considered it. It seemed like their price point was okay. Yeah. But nothing in their service looked like something that was going to overtake the free shit or the ones that I was already paying for.
Datas, I think you should bring that up to Raj.
I just I text Mom about it, and she said that he got it lowered and is taking it again, but that's included with tips is the 1100.
Yeah, but that's a lot with tips.
Yeah,
that's
why are you tipping a driver? For
that
fuck's
is
sake, you don't tip your Amazon driver. What the fuck are you doing tipping them?
$70
You don't fucking
more
tip the FedEx guy. You don't tip the fucking mail guy. What the fuck are you?
Now I will say this: I had a guy.
They're throwing paper. They're not even walking. They're throwing it out of the car. What are you tipping them for?
Guy delivered me a Prime package, and I was in the garage.
Yeah,
and he went to the front door, and I'm like, oh, I'll take that over here, and he came back and he handed it to me, and he handed me the box. And then kind of stood there, and I was like, "Thanks." And then he's all, and
really?
then like walked away, almost like I was supposed to give him a fucking tip or something. And I was like, "Did he really just expect me to give him a fucking tip?"
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, dude, I fucking scrub the walls of people's pools and pull rats out of them, and I don't get tips.
You got problems.
What the
with
fuck, bro?
So,
bro,
when I was young. So pre-high
You're just
school,
a baby now, still.
My mom was a delivery driver for USA Today.
Oh.
And her route included, amongst other things, Davis. And it was during the summer. It was like a way for me to get all I could eat donuts, and like be cool and stay up or get up really early to commute from Grass Valley down to Davis, and she would hand me a thing full of papers, and we would go to an apartment complex, and she'd just rattle off
numbers,
a bunch of numbers, and I would and come back and just like in an apartment complex, just so it's not even times the driver, at least if it's early in the morning, if they've got a really rambunctious kid. So yeah,
named Foo.
Yeah, I don't know who they're tipping or if they're tipping it the right way, but the kid's probably only getting donuts out of it. But it was fun.
$91 a month for a piece of paper, though. Are you fucking kidding me?
The comics aren't that good.
Well, you're saying it like you're just getting a stack of white blank sheets of paper. But
I get it, but I mean, dude,
Sack
what?
B.
What?
I mean, I used to like getting the paper. I would love going through and reading the
Was he getting it 1 day a week or 7?
I think it was every day.
Yeah.
So $8 a week times
every
4.
Day.
That's $32.
For what do you mean if you weren't to the?
It says it's about $8
newsstand?
per day.
If you went to
delivery.
the newsstand.
No, delivery.
Oh, $8 a day?
Yeah. No, a week. Sorry, a week.
A week.
So that's $32.
So you have to pay extra for the delivery? They need more kids that'll work for donuts.
That's part of it.
So he's tipping $60 a month for these fucks to huck a piece of paper out their window?
That's insane, man.
I
I'm
mean,
sorry.
there's no way.
If I'm paying for delivery, there's no tip.
Prime
As
fucking,
someone that has
yeah.
as someone that has delivered newspapers, there's no reason you need
but
to be
did
tipping.
your mom get tips and not?
No,
Are you sure?
I am 100% positive.
Because
My mom
I
never
know-
came home from delivering newspapers with like a fold of cash like a waitress.
because that was two
Well,
things.
who's gonna fucking tip you? Is that? I
Yeah.
mean, do they do that shit through
That was
like?
part of the route, right? You had two parts of the route. You had the delivery part,
Right.
Then you had the collection part.
Right.
The collection part is where you got tipped, and you had to collect every month.
Oh, you mean I don't think that happened. That
was your
wasn't part
mom
of-
holding back on you?
That was a part of it. I thought when you meant collections,
Oh.
I meant from the machines because we would do that too.
Oh.
Right. She would have slugs that were like the exact weight and size of the quarter that would trip the machines.
Yeah.
So she had like, boy, those were awesome at video game
Oh, yeah,
arcades, by
yeah.
the way. Hashtag don't listen to this one, kids.
I got a story.
She would hand me the slugs, and I would go up to the thing and open it up. Newspapers out, new ones in. Reach in, grab the coin box, empty that in my
Little
messenger
pouch.
bag. Put that back in there, empty it out, close it, run back to the car. Donut.
While your mom sits there idling in the air conditioning.
Now we would, yeah. Now we would have,
donut.
yeah,
Then
donut.
he gets back.
I love the sugar ones.
Yeah,
Give me the break for Julio.
yeah.
I need donuts for my delivery.
If you're real good, I'll let you deliver to the apartment complex.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Sweet.
I have a maple bar with your name on it.
Oh yeah, dude. Shit, the amount of apartments I do for a maple bar. Oh yeah.
That's hilarious.
God, huge bags of quarters. Anyway, it's just there was no tips. There was no tips.
I'm
At
surprised.
best, it was like a thing full.
I mean, I knew kids that had routes as growing up, right? And they would earn tips on the.
But we weren't
As
ever.
long as they
it
weren't
was
checking
never
them
a
on the roof.
person. This was like
Oh.
3 to 5 in the morning. So we were never engaged with.
No.
This
That's
is a
the
morning
delivery, though.
Right.
But you would have to go collect. So the collection time was like in the evening when everyone was home.
No,
you
that
went
didn't
on your
happen.
route and collected for the month.
I wonder if that was a different person. We were never collecting money.
So maybe they were paying.
Maybe that was a different person, or they were.
I mean,
mailing it?
I would imagine maybe the billing just went direct,
It might have gone direct,
and then
I don't
you didn't
remember.
have to worry about it as
Yeah.
a delivery person anymore.
Probably not.
And maybe that's not what you do anymore.
It was maybe big enough paper at that time that they didn't trust drivers carrying money.
Well, that was the thing, right? I mean, all kids had paper routes. That was how they.
Well,
earned-
I think that like when you're talking,
yeah,
hey, Mr.
yeah. There's no difference in that in like what you were doing. You just didn't have to go on collections.
Right.
So that's why she didn't get any tips, because you weren't in the face of the customer asking for their monthly money. And then,
Well, I'm sure we probably would have got. Well, yeah. Who's to say?
who's to, you don't
Who's
know.
to say? Hi, I'm the.
You don't know.
You want to give me a tip? I've got your paper.
Now speaking of
Do you
the
have a
tokens,
donut?
Speaking of the tokens thing, in high school, I had these friends that they would take a $1 bill and put big fat shipping tape on it, so it had a big
Oh.
old liter,
Yes.
and then feed it into the soda machine,
Yeah.
and then punch up the soda, and they would get 50 cents back in a soda, and then pull the $1 back out.
Yeah.
And they would just do this until they emptied the damn machine out
Did you
of
ever
soda and coins.
Did you ever do the? Did your high school or middle school have? You disregard any of this. Have payphones?
Yeah, I think by the Bella Vista had them by
Did
the
you
office.
ever do the trick where you could pick up the phone and you could tap the receiver and you could get a call out of it?
Is this like on War Games where he unscrews the?
No. I can't remember. I don't think it was a call. It was that you could get it to ring back. That's what it was. There was like a sequence that you could hit the hang up,
Okay.
the flap.
Yeah.
That was the terminate.
Yeah.
So you could like and then you could hang it up, and you could, if you could walk away fast enough, you could get someone to like, the phone would ring,
Then they would
and
go
then you
answer
could
it.
prank someone like, yeah, the phone's for you, bro. And they would be like, what? I'm like, yeah, it's ringing. It just started ringing. It's for you.
So you used to do this.
And they would like, huh? Oh, yeah.
Please hang up and dial again.
Yeah, it was something like that.
Yeah.
In high school, we had a soda machine, and well,
It only took
wasn't
Bitcoin.
soda.
Yeah.
It was a Powerade machine, rather.
RFID.
And you could put your dollar or whatever in, and then you could get one dispensed, and then if you waited till the right time, you would like the first noise you heard where it was going to start dispensing, you just start pressing the power button over and over,
And
it would just start
dump?
dispensing hella.
Yes.
And one time I got like 6 or 7 of them, and I'm like walking back with them in my arms and shit, and I'm like walking into
selling
class
them for $1.50.
and I walk in, and my teacher, who was a fucking total idiot, he's like, "Where'd you get all those?" And I was like,
Your mom's
I
house.
I paid for them." And he goes, "No, you didn't." He was like, "Take them up to the office, and they're gonna write you up." And I'm like, "What do you fucking mean?" So I walk all the way up to the office with all the fucking Powerades in my arms,
My
and they're
teacher
like,
told me I had to sell
I'm like-
these to you for $1.50.
I'm like, the
Are you guys
Powerade
thirsty?
dispenser like dispensed all these out for me, and she was like, "Well, I guess it's your lucky day." So I walked back. I walked back into class with all of these Powerades, and the teacher's like, "What do you? They just said you could have them. What do you mean?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, I paid for them, so you know what I mean. Like they're mine."
Yeah.
So
You
yeah.
want one?
So I mean,
$1.50.
I mean,
Yeah.
my friends, when they were doing it, and they were feeding $1 in there.
they're paying
feeding
for
it, pulling it back out, but they were putting the $1 in to pay for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of that. I'm trying to think. I mean, you could even, in the early days of the bill registrations, you could get away with a photocopied dollar
Oh yeah.
at like some of the.
Sometimes they're so sensitive now that you can't even have like the corner just bent, right?
Oh yeah, now
Yeah,
they're
be
doing
like,
like the
no.
black
So
light,
sick.
like detection, and like a fiber thing.
Oh, it has one too many wrinkles in it. Sorry.
Oh yeah,
I'm
or it's not
rejecting it.
You didn't turn this one the right way or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So yeah, that's irritating as fuck.
Yeah, I was a little bit too. I wasn't driving yet, but had I known in hindsight that I should have kept some of those slugs for when I got old enough to drive myself to like billiards up in Grass Valley where they had like Street Fighter and shit, I probably would have saved myself some serious dishwasher money.
I saw one of these like investigative shows, and it was about this group of people who were, like the casinos make their own coins for like the dollar machines or the whatever, the really big, the high dollar machines, like
Okay.
the $20 coins or whatever.
Yeah.
And these guys were into counterfeiting the coins. And so they had taken the coins from whatever casino it was and duplicated it exactly to the weight and the size and everything. The look, they looked identical.
Okay.
But the coins wouldn't work, and they couldn't figure out why. And they were sitting there, and the guy had the coin, and they were playing with the two, like, what is different about these two? And they dropped them on the table, and they made a different sound.
Oh.
And it turns out that the metal compound they were using had something special in it that their coin didn't have. And so even though it was the
So the
exact
weight
weight
was
and everything,
right.
everything was
The
exact.
metallurgy was different.
Yeah, something about that metal. And so once they figured that out, they analyzed it and figured it out and started duplicating and started making their own coins. Well, then they all of a sudden they're like, the casino's like, why do we have all this extra coins?
Oh.
That's how they end up knowing that something's wrong. It's
Yeah,
like they have way too many coins.
5,000 in circulation, and you bring back 7,600
Yeah.
after expected losses.
Just super fascinating stuff. It's like interesting how people do that stuff, but and how they figure it out. And then they ended up getting caught, of course, because they're idiots.
You get too greedy.
Yeah, the greed is the biggest one.
You kept pressing the button. Too many Powerades.
That's right.
Yeah, I almost got a little citation. Or
We
whatever
would
the
do
fuck.
that. Like, Bear River, one of those. I can't remember. I think it was cans of New York seltzer.
Oh,
And if someone would get it just right, and it would start like spitting them out, it was just like everyone would come toward the machine and just be like, "Take it and go."
I never heard of this.
I got it. I'm on it.
So there's a power button somewhere, or what was it?
You could hit the button. You're effectively like
action button.
memory jamming.
The button
Yeah.
for whatever soda it is or whatever.
Like a buffer overflow. Like if you hit it just when it was starting to process it or whatever it was doing, like, and you could keep it going.
It just kept going,
like the relay would
okay,
just like
yeah,
open and
alright.
shut, and you would just.
I'm gonna try this on our machine at work.
Me and Ashley used to all the time. We'd take money for one Powerade and get two.
Huh.
Like it was like a thing we would
It's
do.
a twofer, and they were like, "What the fuck? We're short every month."
Yeah, every once, well, it wouldn't
everyone knew
always
how to
work.
fuck with the
Like
machines, yeah.
sometimes it was one button seemed to do it more, and then they would rotate out a machine. It's just like the dollar bills every once in a while. Eventually, you couldn't pull out the machine because it had gone up another roller or something,
Yeah.
so you couldn't.
Yep.
Or they were directional. So they
I think at school they caught on to it to a point to where they no longer allowed dollar bills. You had to have coins.
that wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
I mean, eventually they removed the fucking payphone, so
Well,
that didn't work either.
Yeah, and also I think
All you kids have cell phones or
soda.
the flip Motorola's.
Yes, soda machines in general are.
There were
not.
flip phones when you were in high school?
Yeah,
God damn, what the hell?
they were like the
This guy's
big,
young as fuck.
big Motorola's with like the. It wasn't clamshell. It had like a digital face with like a. I mean, it was as big as your. It was like as big as this, but it had like a flip mic.
Oh, huh.
I'd have to look it
I
up.
don't remember the
Yeah.
model. The very first Motorola I can remember is the Razr. That was the like really highly desired phone at the time.
Yeah, and then before there was the Nokia, there was
Yeah.
the Razr.
I was always disappointed because it didn't actually have a Razr built into it.
No.
So
I have a question. Last week we talked about the iPod OG.
Yeah.
yeah,
Was that before or after the Nokia iPod phone?
before.
Before.
Yeah, the Nokia iPod phone came out because they kept saying they wanted to do an iPod like music phone.
Yeah.
And that thing was just they got screwed on that one because Apple announced the iPhone not too long after that.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, Nokia got screwed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or was it Motorola?
No, it was Nokia.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Thought it was the Motorola. I don't remember.
Sell out.
Yeah. Look it up, Datas.
I'm working on it.
Is there a Motorola iFizzle?
What was the Motorola model that everyone talks about as like indestructible?
That's a Nokia.
I thought it was.
I mean the Nokia. That's
like-
what I meant.
It was a 90. A 98.
It was like a little candy bar one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
3310.
The 3310 is the indestructible one.
Yep. It's the one. It's like it's this phone.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Was
yeah.
that it?
A lot of
Oh,
people.
yeah.
A lot of people had.
Oh
those.
yeah, dude. My dad like went through. Yeah. Plenty
I
of
think
those.
my first phone was an.
I don't think
audio.
I ever actually owned one, but fucking I knew someone that
Yeah, oh,
did.
yeah.
My dad was one of them.
My first phone was an Audio Vox. Like they don't even make cell phones anymore.
No.
You know what I mean?
Mine was that Motorola.
Oh, which one?
I don't know
that first flip phone.
I was wrong.
It was Moto.
It was Moto.
That's what I thought.
Hey, Colts of Mac. I'm not turning my fucking ad blocker off.
It's even the Mac guys too.
Oh yeah.
I guarantee you, they all have fucking ad blocks on their.
You know what's
computers.
funny
You
is
know that shit.
I spend a lot of time on Kinja websites.
Yeah, there you go.
I spend a lot of time on Kinja websites, and they're pretty cool about the ad blocking. Except every maybe 3 or 4 times I refresh the page, I get like, "Hey, we see you. You're using an ad blocker. They say consider turning it off," and I'm like, "Nah, no,
No,
yeah,
not happening.
no, not happening."
Have you? I mean, after you look at a page though that doesn't have ads on it, and then you turn the ad blocker off, it just looks like absolute shit. Like it's so fucking busy.
Yeah.
It's so ass, dude.
And it takes longer to load.
It's just so ugly because it's just like it's always fucking ads about like weight loss or like boners or some shit like that. Like always.
Do
Fucking,
you want
You want to lose weight in your boner?
how's your labia? You know, it's like, I don't fucking know. Chilling, whatever.
How's your labia? Wow.
Yeah, ads about vaginals, you know. all that kind of
Vaginals.
stuff. The creases, you know.
What is happening?
Don't fucking.
this?
Ads about vaginals. What is it?
That.
Oh yeah, I remember that phone.
Yeah.
That was like didn't Zach from Saved by the Bell have that phone?
I think those were box phones.
Don't prolapse
And
your
Venus
rectum.
actually had use of a phone before anyone in our group that we hung out with in high school.
Shanna?
Because her dad had a fucking bag phone.
Yeah, Shanna had a bag phone.
Yeah, Jesus.
That thing's sick, dude.
You could probably do some serious damage with a phone that looked like that brick.
Yeah, that's the
You could probably build a wall with it.
that was the iTunes phone,
Yeah.
and it was a piece of shit.
It's the Motorola.
What's funny
Roker
is
E1.
I read some history type articles on that phone, and they were announcing it, and they knew it was a piece of shit, and they weren't happy about it. And Steve Jobs, when he announced it, kind of was like, "Yeah, here's this phone. And it's like it'll do iTunes." And then I forget. It wasn't that long afterwards where Apple came out with, "Hey, by the way, here's the iPhone." You know.
Well, this
And-
was released in 2005, September 7th, 05, and I think the iPhone was released in September 07.
Yeah. So Motorola wasn't too happy with Apple because they didn't give a shit about it because they were working on their own crap. But this is
January 9th, 2007.
Shanna had that Motorola bag phone too. That was like
Yeah.
the first cell phone she had that plugged into the cigarette
lighter?
Yeah. Unfortunately, we dumped that in the trash. I wish we still had it.
That would be fun to see if it.
Oh, it's all analog, so it won't connect.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Networks are different now. They're all different now.
Yeah.
What are we doing on time?
56.
Wow. We're close.
Mm-hmm.
You got a look on your face. What's wrong?
We had.
Oh.
Should we run the ads?
Should we run the ads?
Oh, we forgot about them. We forgot about the ads.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, I guess
Well, if you want to find the ads, you know where you can find the ads? Probably the same place you can find our podcast. On iTunes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you. For those of you
Hold
not,
on, let's fill these last 4 minutes up with
Yeah.
the amount of time it takes to fucking say where you can find us at, even though
Yes.
they've already known where we are because they've already been listening for
Hey, they might
33
be a
weeks,
new-
and also
new
they already
listener.
know what podcasts are. But they already found it.
they might be. A
They
new listener.
already fucking found it, though.
Maybe they have a preferred.
What are they
way.
going to fucking listen to it on, a rock? Oh, hey, rock, where else could I find this thing?
Maybe
huh?
they have a preferred.
Hey, FM radio, where else could I find this,
You
huh?
can just turn that guy's mic off.
I can't reach over that.
It doesn't, you know what I mean?
No, I don't.
How, though? I'm being so
I
direct.
mean, iTunes or Spotify or Google Play.
Yeah, but they already know.
Oh,
They don't.
speaking about that, though.
Yeah.
So Google has their own, Google podcast thing.
Yeah.
That has been flawless.
Now, what
So
do you mean?
I wouldn't listen to it through Google Play. There's a Google Podcasts app. And
Oh, so a
they're-
separate app for
that's-
podcasting
And that has been
on spot.
on spot.
Okay, that's good to know. Does
But-
Mike know this?
I don't know.
You need
Venus
to-
told
Hey,
me.
Mike, figure it the fuck out, you know? Also check Twitter, all right?
He's coming after you, bitch. You're not making any friends tonight.
Who else is
It's
out
like,
there?
yeah, I'll come over and help you build that Civic.
CJ916?
Uh-huh.
You're my dude, man. We fucked up the hashtag, bro. That's what's up. Fuck the hashtags.
Oh,
What
yeah.
are you even talking about? The same thing
I
we're
ruined the
talking about?
hashtag, bro.
Oh, that
I'm
that
calling out my
thread?
homie, dude. Yes.
Yeah.
My Twitter, bro.
That was ruin.
You know what
That was what was that? Ruin Friday in 4 words,
Yeah.
and you were all over the fucking
You're like,
place.
Well,
You're asking to ruin
take a
Friday.
katana sword to my innards, then watch and feast upon my own self, and
I
that
ju-
would suck.
I just wanted to because
4
you
words,
said,
bro.
You
4
said
words.
I shit my pants, and then you said I shit your pants, and then I was like, oh, I can respond with something about shitting pants. I didn't even fucking read the hashtag.
Yeah, read the hashtag.
And then Dragon was like, "This guy's a fucking clown," and then I was like, "You're
Exactly.
goddamn right."
Yeah.
So yeah, okay,
yeah,
rip in the chat. F.
that was sideways.
I laughed. I laughed pretty hard because I'm like, how many different ways can I, like, my
Trying to
mom
slam
shit
me
my
with 4
pants?
words. Oh.
Mommy shit my pants?
It's got to be 4 words.
Yeah. And I was just like, how can I find a way to top Jim shitting in some other dude's pants? Like I said, you off on the side, I'm like, I've been giggling for at least half an hour. Like, at some point when someone's going to start seeing how we totally train wreck this, like, shitting of pants on a Friday.
What did I say? My dog shit your pants?
No, I don't know. You added a whole bunch of extra words in there that didn't belong. That's for sure.
Hey,
It
you know
didn't
what?
count.
Remember when I said earlier, what's reading?
He's looking for, like, diversity and, like, creativity and how people can wreck a Friday. And
This
he's
was-
just like, shit my pants. And you're like, I shit your pants. And he's like, I shit his pants, shitting in pants.
It was a shit pants fuck fest.
Yeah, but with too many words.
Yeah.
Well, shit pants fuck
You're like-
fest is 4 words.
I don't remember exactly what you said.
I
but
should
it
have
was-
said shit pants
Shitting
fuck fest. That's
pants,
4 words.
Totally bucket thoth, hot meat. Friday thuck.
Yeah, I ruined Friday. I used too many words in a hashtag built for 4.
All I know,
He can't count.
JJ's listening right now and he's pissed because it's fucking too quiet, but it's his fault.
It is his fault.
Breadlining all over the place.
How about AIDS?
We're gonna like lose every listener we've ever had on this show.
We, you know,
Could you guys imagine if I had to
We
do a
won't be held
podcast
in
by
contempt.
myself? What the fuck would I say?
If what?
If I had to do a podcast by myself?
I don't
If
know.
I had my
You,
own
you might
podcast?
find out next week.
Why? I'm going to have my own now?
Is this? We'll just sit here and let you go.
we'll be like, bro.
We'll be like, "Welcome to Sad Dad's Club podcast. Here's Datas."
Do you need a random content generator or do you need a Datas?
He's like, today
And then everyone,
and this is lame, bro. Buenos ustedes. Lame, bro.
lame. 100.
Yeah.
Is that Japanese?
Yes.
Negachama, sensei.
I think I heard that on the subway
You
one
want to know what
time.
it said?
No,
I had said, I fucked your mom.
I doubt that's what she said back. I highly doubt that.
That's some
Wait, what do
Game
you
of
mean?
Thrones stuff.
I don't think that's what the translation says.
I mean,
It was probably
bro.
something like, I cleaned your cardboard table.
We went to karaoke. That's what it said.
You sing like Celine Dion. But you look like Buck Rogers. What? That doesn't even make sense.
All right.
Tu mamá.
I think we should be done for this show
Yeah.
before
Well, he figures out how to translate in English.
that. Because that does take a translation coming
Yeah.
out of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said, bro. Are you trying to say make me a sandwich?
I eat ass.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tim Apple.
Like, way to go. $5,000 machine tells you how to eat ass. Best use of money ever. All right.
I'm not-
Got another one coming.
One more.
all right. One more and then you're done. Uh-oh.
I fucked your bitch, you fat motherfucker. Take money.
All right. They're done.
You're
All right, everybody. We gotta go before Datas loses his
Thanks
shit.
for listening.
There you go.
There we go.
Catch you
Finally,
next week.
Something reasonable. All right. Take it easy.
See you later.